All right, welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody. Come to you tonight after Thursday Night Football. Man, the Patriots look bad at home. And the Bills get them 24-10. As somebody who had the Pats plus 11.5 on the teaser, I got to be honest, I was hoping for a touchdown on the final play, on the final offensive drive. Someone explained to me why, when you're down 24-7, why you would not go to make it 24-14, instead kick a field goal to make it 24-10, that even if you got the onside kick after that, you're still down 2 scores.
Well, you go from a 3-score game to a 2-score game.
Yeah, they were still down.
But they could have made it 24-17, and then they kicked the onside kick, and then they get it, and then all of a sudden they got a chance.
No, they were down 24-7.
Yes, I'm saying. Oh, it would have been 20. Yeah, okay, it would have been 2 scores. I mean, 24-14.
They still needed 3 scores.
My teaser.
It was still a sad field goal.
I was bummed. I was bummed because Vicky Pellich, who I'm facing, has Nick Folk, and I'm like, don't let him kick a field goal. You know, every point counts. So,
well, I mean, to be fair though, that was a pretty brutal -1 she got on the doinker off the crossbar to end the half.
What do you guys?
By the
way, Marcus Jones, the rookie from Houston, scored as a receiver. He's a corner. He had 2 catches for 51 yards, and including a 48-yard touchdown.
Let him in yards.
But is Buffalo? I mean, Buffalo's 9-3, 5-2 on the road. Allen is tremendous. 2 more touchdowns tonight. He also ran 8 times for 20 yards. But I'm looking at them, and you know, they don't necessarily stop the run all that well. You know, 4.3 a carry is what the Patriots got tonight. And then Buffalo themselves only ran for 3.5 a carry. I don't know. Early in the year, I thought Buffalo really looked monster. They don't look quite as good to me right now.
No, definitely not. I mean, they lost a few in a row. Then they looked kind of lucky, honestly, to beat Detroit. They got Dan Campbell the Lions, but yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, there was a time where I was on here asking, would you guys take? What would you take? Eagles and Bills or the rest of the NFL at even money? And like, there was serious consideration both ways. So it's like how the mighty have fallen. I'm no longer the Eagles look far less scary, and they never really were that scary to begin with. And the Bills just, I mean, it gets you thinking. I mean, it's not like Josh Allen's ever been to a Super Bowl. Last year was electric, but I feel like that like playoff game sort of like, I don't know. That was Josh Allen at his best, but usually you get a little bit of Josh Allen. I mean, he tried to give the ball away a few times today, and they still, you know, they dominated, but I don't know. I'm not afraid of them.
And then from the Patriots perspective, maybe if you want to have a good offense, maybe, I don't know, hire offensive coaches. I mean, Matt Patricia's
Matt Patricia. Yeah, I knew that was a problem.
Why is Matt Patricia the offensive coordinator of the Patriots?
Did you hear what Tony Gonzalez had to say? Tony Gonzalez directly called him out after the game, like freaking aggressively. He's like, we all know who the problem is. We all know who the problem is. You know, it's Matt Patricia. You can't be blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay. I blame Belichick. I blame Belichick. Yeah, everybody told me, like, because every fan out there knows, like, what the hell? Matt Patricia can't even coach defense, and defense is what he's supposed to be good at. There's no way he's going to be a good offensive coach. And then everyone was like, oh, no. Belichick, trust me, Belichick's calling the plays.
You got to blame the head guy.
Yeah, you got to blame Belichick. And Mac Jones is being kind of like a spoiled little baby crying, why can't we show down the field, even though he can't complete passes down the field. Exactly. So I don't know what he's bitching about.
You go by your record,
receivers though.
You gotta know what Patricia's doesn't know anything about offense. I mean, you can't put it on him. He took the job, but it's Belichick that offered it. It would be like Larry next year in our Krug League if he said, Ryan, you're going to be the commissioner.
Yeah.
Boom. Look at that. Any taking shot. Romo 2001. Ryan with the big mic setup. Nice.
I like that. Look at that, man. What is that? A roadie?
Mic?
Call me.
They call him
Standing Smith. No, I got I was like, I need to get something during Cyber Monday. You know, I always have to buy all this technology, and I felt like I have to get something today. At least I'll get something that I'll want in the future or whatever. I used that standing desk during the podcast, Larry. Yeah, at my girlfriend's place for Thanksgiving. I got really jealous of her setup with the treadmill underneath and the standing, and I was like, "Wow, this just feels way better to be standing and talking."
Looks like your own show, man.
Yeah, man. So I got a standing.
Give us a little Wolfman Jack or something right now.
I got a standing desk extension, and so it just goes on top of your desk, and then it lifts it. And then I got
if
my
you wanted to sit?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, in fact, wait. Well, this might be really dangerous, but earthquake.
What's going on?
I'm lowering it down. Wait, can you even tell?
What if the whole thing just came tumbling?
I know, no, that was a horrible idea. I don't know why I was even trying that.
Romo 2001. Dan is wearing a Giants hat. What could that mean?
It's his formal attire.
Danny was at the Giants huddle with all the other Giants
talks
giant people.
Yeah,
all the upper crust,
the upper man,
the creme de la creme, the people that actually we need to talk to. These people kind of mean a lot to us. What did it tell us, Danny? Well, how did it go? Talk.
Yeah. It
where was it?
It was good. It was good.
It was online.
It was on Zoom, and it was about 45 minutes late. They were 45 minutes long. It was about 5 minutes late. They literally Kapler, Petulia. I got to go back and listen to how it's pronounced. I think it's a little
nobody
off.
Cares.
But anyway, and then Farhan, they were literally had to break up a meeting with a free agent to do this meeting.
That is such performative garbage.
I know. Come on.
No, they actually
somebody should have called bullshit on that.
No, Farhan actually said, he goes, I had to stop Gabe in the middle of a sentence and say, hey, we got to go. Yeah. I'm like, that's impressive. You know, if I'm being recruited and you got to leave me for, hopefully they said, hey, we had a prearranged meeting with our season ticket holder. Hopefully they told him beforehand that they had till 6.
Yeah, they're like, Gabe's like, well, during the interview, well, that was a wonderful question.
That's a really good question. Who's the most unimpressive free agent out there that it could potentially be?
Brandon Nemo.
I think
I'm sensing an overpay for Nemo after a swing and a miss on Judge.
Well, they're hoping for, here's the bottom line is.
Oh, wait, bottom line? Wow, here we go.
I mean,
wait a second. If we're going bottom line, let's move Danny into the main box. All right, here's the bottom line. Look at this, the bottom line.
I mean, I've got some.
Here's the bottom line. Have you renewed your season tickets yet?
In your own heads about how this is going to unfold here over the next few weeks.
You recorded them without their knowledge?
Yeah.
And now we're putting it out for the massive
video.
And guys that we have been talking to, you hear agents saying they're targeting next week to make a decision to really bring markets to a head. And so we think there's going to be a lot of activity, and we're very active. So hopefully we'll have views on a couple of new Giants next week. That's certainly the goal.
There it is.
Has your phone been buzzing while we?
Oops. Oh,
wow, this is salacious.
Was there anybody? Did anybody ask a question that you said, "What a freaking homer question that is"?
No, only 2 questions were read by Dave Fleming of fans. One was about how you're going to get more athletic, and the other was.
Did you recognize any of the media asking questions?
No, it was just season ticket holders. It was just season ticket holders.
Just the people who pay the freight.
Yeah. So
was anybody irate? Was there anybody who was like, "Man, I am absolutely had it with you guys"?
They didn't read anything like that. It was just controlled. It was a controlled.
So you're telling me that they didn't recognize
a controlled
you?
Burn, if you will, a controlled burn.
You're telling me they didn't recognize you and answer your many complaints that you've voiced to Amanda Kershaw?
I submitted one question. So.
What was your question? Just WTF?
My question.
I don't want to be argumentative, but
WTF LOL.
I got to find my question because
You have to find your question?
What brand
you've
of
been waiting
coconut
for this
oil?
for
I sent it a week or two ago, and I don't remember the format. I copied. Hold on.
Wait, Dan,
Why
you
are
should
why is gas
Dan-
prices through the roof? Was it
Yeah,
something
why are
like that?
gas prices? Yeah, that was it. That was exactly it.
Dan, you could actually probably do numbers if you just tweeted out like live recording of Farhan saying that hopefully
really
get
true
2 players
that,
next week.
Is it really true that Gabe is responsible for inflation?
I can't remember my question. I can't find it. I think I sent it to Romo at once. If you got it, Romo, I don't know. I thought I texted it to him. Here was my question.
With
Or maybe
all
it
the
was
saving.
no. I sent it to MF. Here it is. Let me I can pull it up. Here was my question.
MF, by the way, in our own chat says the post game on Amazon is solid.
Oh yeah, they were scorching. I liked
Good to
it.
know.
Embrace debate.
Okay, where is my let me see. Here's my question. Why not just go out and aggressively set the market and sign Judge, one of the shortstops, and Bellinger, and an everyday second baseman?
This sounds more like advice than a question.
Plus a frontline starting pitching, and you're now an immediate contender, plus the fan base is excited, which will start packing the house again. That was basically
Your question.
Yeah, but I didn't think they would read it. They never do read more than a couple, and there's thousands in there, but I get the feeling that the Judge situation is coming to a head at the winter meetings, or maybe this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down Sunday. Barry Bonds in '92 just did sign on December 6th.
Well, I was trying to remember that earlier. Was that it was at the winter meetings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But isn't that Bond's decision day, which you guys ridiculed me for thinking that could possibly happen?
Oh, everything all tied in together. Bond's decision day plus it'll be when Judge decides to accept whoever offer he's going to accept, and it's going to be the Giants or the Yankees. And I'm still going to stick.
What if he goes to the Dodgers?
I don't think they're in play.
What about the Royals?
Glass half full guy says, "Here's $1.99. I'd overpay for Judge only to keep him out of L.A."
Ah, the old Christian McCaffrey. Yes.
I don't think LA's in play at all.
We got this one from SJWS who says, "When is the podcast going to be back up on Apple?" We had one of our tech guys head off to Portugal for a couple days, so that's why we're a little bit behind on our updating of our Apple.
I can do it.
Maybe if you can, that'd be great. But
yeah,
the podcast has not
God.
been. What's going on? What is going on? What was that?
Is that your
smoke alarm detector? Is Rye taking hits? He taking hits of the wacky tobacco?
The battery. Pull the battery. So I gotta believe. I think Judge is coming. Decision is coming this week. I'm still going to say it.
What did you think of Carton? Carton on WFAN basically said that he thinks he's going to be a Giant. Can we play that, Rye, from Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, Larry, and I will say it in defense of you before we even play it. Like, I saw in the comments, people were all like, he said it was a dream, blah, 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 blah. But guys like Larry, who's been in the biz, sometimes people say stuff like that, like, oh, I had a dream about this. And he's like, oh, and I've been 8 for 8 on these dreams. And then he says that Judge is going to be a Giant. Sometimes that's a way of saying I have inside information, but I can't share it. So,
exactly. Like, I want this out there because I want to be able to say this, but
yes,
I can't really tell you where I'm getting it because the one thing a veteran radio guy will do is you never want to be keeping things from your audience.
Yes.
It's like the old rule in school when someone walks up and says, I've got a secret. And everybody hates that person because they're not telling their secret.
Yes.
And it's the same thing in radio. You do not go on radio and say, I've got a secret. If this guy's saying this, it makes me think that somebody
I sent this to you today, didn't I, Larry? Did I send
Yeah,
this to you?
I saw it.
Yeah.
Can we play it?
Yeah.
Here we go. So, I mean, okay, a couple things. One, he's immediately painting him as greedy. So it's if he doesn't take the Yankees $300 million offer, in Carton's mind, he's greedy. The Giants' offer could be identical. He doesn't know that it's a penny more. Rye, you muted, I think. You muted yourself, Rye. But he doesn't. We don't know if the Giants' offer is going to be a penny more, a penny less, hundreds of millions more, hundreds of millions. We don't know. We don't know what the Giants' offer is. His assumption that, at some point it becomes greed. Well, wait a second. If Team A, let's just say in this case the Yankees is offering you 300 mil, and any other team, Team B, whether it be a Giants or Dodgers or who knows, the Orioles or anybody else is offering you the exact same thing, it's not really then about the money, is it? It's about where do you want to be and where do you want to live. And if these were similar experiences, it'd be one thing, but it's not. It's not similar experiences.
Larry,
living in New York City and being the face of the New York Yankees is a totally different experience than living in Northern California and being the face of the Giants.
Notice how he also couched it so that it's Aaron Judge that's being greedy for not accepting the money, not the New York Yankees, the franchise that's worth infinite amounts of money.
They're not being
totally
cheap. It's being greedy.
Yes. And so it's like a way of saving. He's explaining to all of these like blue collar Yankees fans how they can rationalize it when Judge leaves them. You can rationalize it as Judge was just a greedy jerk who didn't accept the Yankees offer and then choked in the play, whatever. And he's not saying, oh, the Yankees, what are you doing? Spend whatever it is. He just, broke Maris's home run record. He's so important to the franchise, blah, 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 blah. That leads more towards he maybe knows he's going to the Giants. And
I've said
he's
all
getting
along,
ahead of
I think
it.
he's going there, and I think they've had a deal, inside deal. I do. I think
inside deal.
Well,
wait a second. Hold on a second.
I think
let's
they've
move
got a
Dan
deal
to the center square.
Wait, Dan. Also,
inside deal.
Do you have any update on the news about his pregnancy? Trying to get pregnant.
Remember we were talking before. You're talking about family.
Yes,
they just got married. They're probably trying to have a kid. I said,
"Has it
how's
been fertilized?
Going? Have they consummated yet?"
Ovulates on the 6th.
Right.
Yeah.
You did have a lot of details.
No,
about his private life.
I'm going to say that I think somewhere there's been conversations that there's a mutual type of, hey, don't
put us through this if you're not really serious kind of a thing.
Yeah. We've got to come through as an
We'll be real serious, but you got to be real serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't play us and we won't screw with you.
Yes. And we want you badly. I mean, they've said it. I mean, they've come out and said it. They don't want to have egg on their face. They missed out on Harper after, try and look last minute deal. They missed out on Stanton before that. They missed out on numerous guys. Who was the pitcher that with the Cubs? Went on
John Lester.
Yeah, Lester. They lost out on Lester. They lost out on several people. They lost out on Suzuki last year.
Looking at the attendance last year, they lost out on the fans.
Yeah. And so the ownership group knows they've got to land something big. And there's no one bigger in baseball right now than Aaron Judge. And
I love that the ownership group is just saying, Farhan, take a seat, bud. We got this one. I like that. I like that because some decisions, believe it or not, are made above the general manager. And putting butts in the seats is a core, central core reality to your business. I mean, what is success? Well, success is measured in the standings, but success is also measured in, how much money you make. It's a business at the end of the day. So I personally, I like the fact that they're saying, because we all know this is Aaron Judge is not Farhan's guy. Heck, a big time free agent signing is not Farhan's way. Right. Farhan's way is Padlo to Fairchild to Papirski to, we're moving to Vegas. I mean, that's the Farhan way. He just switched teams and is now with the Giants and has a deeper checkbook or, bigger reservoir of cash. But if he had his own druthers, he would never sign Aaron Judge, ever. I'm convinced of that. So I like the fact that the ownership group is probably going to, force his hand on this, or at least force his interest.
And if you look at Farhan,
what do you think the offer is going to be?
I think it's going to be between 40 and 41. Is
short term, long term. Rich Aurelio was on with Papa and Lund the other day on the radio and said that he thought it would be maybe a short term deal with a much, much higher AAV. So maybe the Giants would want to go.
That would be all time. That would be
if the Giants went on a 5-year deal. What do you think the AAV would be?
Well, it'd have to be close to $50 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, Rye mentioned that early on. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it might be more like 8 years, but it might be front loaded with the back end, the last 3-4 years, a little lower salary and a little higher each year. Maybe it's tapered where it's like 50, 47, 44, 40, just keep it dropping. That would be a possibility. But I do think, they had Farhan said his phone, Dave Fleming asked him, has your phone been ringing? He says, well, Farhan said, well, my phone's at 14%. So I may have, I don't know if I missed any calls that anybody was accepting our offers. So they have offers out there. They
probably have a whole, I got to think that they're ready to roll. Whether he says, yes, I'm coming, they probably have moves, maybe a trade or two or a signing or two that would be an adjoining type move to that. And then they probably have plan B, where if he says no, maybe they pivot to a much more aggressive offer on Carlos Correa. Maybe it's Mitch Haniger. Maybe it's those two guys in a starting pitcher. Maybe it's
Operation
Trey Turner.
Trout.
Sounds like Trey Turner. It sounds like the reports are he's leaning close to the Phillies.
Yeah, there's too much.
And there was a lot of talk that, the other thinking is I got to think that maybe with the Dodgers talking aggressively about shortstop replacements, that maybe they know they can't satisfy him. So maybe it's not about money. Maybe it's about, I want to be in the East. You know what I'm saying? So maybe a guy like that is, I did see Alex Pavlovich.
Whoa. Is there breaking news on Judge's Instagram? Or is this just me doing some investigative work? We'll find out.
We'll see. Check his Instagram. Check the IG, as the kids would say. I did hear Alex Pavlovich say that Judge is plan A and that Correa is plan B. That would be interesting. There's also one rumor out here. MF has Dodgers and Giants are among the teams looking into the possibility of a trade for Brewers second baseman Colton Wong. This is originally a report from Ken Rosenthal out of The Athletic. That's an interesting one. Now, Wong is not a free agent. That's why you would trade for him. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's owed $10 million. So just anybody who's willing to take on Wong's deal, because he's not worth $10 million at this point, you probably are getting him for relatively nothing as far as prospects. It's just a matter of, do you want to take the $10 million? I like Colton Wong. His brother Keon Wong is already in the Giant organization, or was. Colton this year hit 251, 15 bombs, 47 RBIs, 17 steals. He can play second. He can play third. I like Colton Wong, and looking at his splits, guys, 277 against righties, 138 against lefties. So he's probably another platoon player, but you could play him against, most pitchers if since his numbers are, 277, 357 on base against right-handed pitching. Go ahead, Rye. What were you going to say?
Well, I'm not sure how Instagram works, where if it's just the most recent people that he followed would be at the top of his list. But if that is the case,
did he follow me?
No, if that is the case,
he is.
It's Draymond at the top, then Kevin Durant, then Marwin Gonzalez, then Shane Victorino, the Flying Hawaiian, then E40. Kind of interesting. I don't know. Tom Brady.
No Steph, or he probably
Trey
already
Lance.
was
He follows Trey Lance.
Maybe he
Really?
was already following Steph.
Maybe he was already following Steph.
Val Ramos says, I do think the Giants have a good chance. There you go.
Hey,
Val
they
Ramos.
have, odds makers have moved them as the favorites.
Well, that
Which
is interesting, because let's talk about that for a second. Things used to be decided by the rumor mill. Peter Gammons reports, John Clayton reports, David Aldridge reports, Shams Charania reports. We always used to look to these people as like the end all be all. But then now it's like, if you really want to know who's going to win for president, go look at the odds. If you really want to know who's going to get drafted first, go look at the odds. I mean, the odds on the Niners draft the year that Trey Lance came out were in favor of them drafting Mac Jones until noon that day. And then all of a sudden it moved out of nowhere to Trey Lance, and they drafted Trey Lance. My point is just simply that anybody could know anything. And when you see movement that switches one side from being an underdog on a player to a favorite on a player, to me, that means somebody knows something. So the Giants, as of some point today, went from being the underdog to land Aaron Judge to the favorite.
Right.
So what do you guys make of that?
There's talk. There's people picking up news.
The one thing that is when it's a market that's not as nearly as liquid, where like maybe this prop is only offered at a few books, it also usually tends to be followed by limits. So like the NFL draft, for example, like, almost every book has that, and the limits are now getting higher and higher and higher as it gets more popular. But this kind of thing might have kind of limited books, limited money. So like even a small amount, like done by like a Giants fan or something, could mean a lot. But I do think it's super notable that they made the Giants 130 and the Yankees 110 when they could have easily made it 110. Also, by the way, just sorry for the F-bomb, but fuck the books. Making that minus 130 and then the Yankees minus 110, that means that the Giants have more than a 50% chance and the Yankees have a 50% chance. So they're literally making you pay extra vig. No, well, they're making you pay extra vig. Like the standard 110 vig is fine, but to have on two sides of a coin, and if it really is down to just those two teams, then sure, fine. But it should be minus 110, or if the Giants are favored minus 130, then the Yankees should be whatever plus 110 or whatever.
MF says, why hasn't Larry Bear gone on the radio recently? That's interesting. We got this one. Toby says, wait, season ticket holders get inside news? Is that true, Danny?
Just me.
Just you?
No, it's just there wasn't anything concrete, discussed. I'm looking in and reading into things. I don't know. Nobody knows. Not even they may know, but I think realistically, the only one that really truly knows, obviously, is Judge, and they're waiting on him.
If I had to guess, if you said to me, make a guess, I would still go with the Giants are the Giants. The Yankees are the Yankees. Nobody of Judge's ilk, who basically Judge has a chance if he wants to be Derek Jeter. He can stay with the Yankees his whole career. He can be the face of the Yankees. I can't think of one player of significance that walked away from the Yankees in the midst of the kind of career that Judge is having. So I will stay with my prediction, which is I'm hoping Aaron Judge becomes a Giant. I would love for Aaron Judge to be a Giant. But as a Giants fan, to me, I think Aaron Judge, they kick tires on Aaron Judge and they overpay for Brandon Nimmo. That's the Giants that I know. The Giants that I know kick tires on Aaron Judge, overpay for Brandon Nimmo.
And then Judge hits 2 home runs in the first 2 games of the series.
And then, well, not only that, then there's like 9 different people writing articles and talking on the radio about how Nimmo was actually the better signing.
Yeah,
that's the other thing that is coming. People
I
that will find out what the Giants did and then align their narrative of the rebuild to perfectly fit that the Giants are doing exactly what is required in this situation.
Can't clog up first base for Andrew Vaughn. You just can't do it.
There'll be somebody out there
Or whatever.
of
Vaughn
course,
Brown.
get ready for of course they were never going to sign Aaron Judge. Those kinds of stories. Nimmo was always their guy. You know what I mean? But can't you picture
Did you
an
lose something,
overpay
Ryan?
coming?
I did.
I can picture an overpay.
And I think I
coming
know
for
where it
Nimmo.
is.
I see Nimmo at crazy prices. That's what I'm seeing.
Finding Nemo.
I really think this year's
Different.
I do, and I've been probably one of the more critical people and frustrated with their cheapness but I just got to believe that
Eric
they're
gets it.
not going to. Someone in the chat said they're too cheap. They're not
Can't
going
block
to be
Vaughn Brown. Exactly.
Can't do it.
That's coming. Can't block Vaughn Brown. Farhan knows better than you. There'll be all kinds of people chanting, "Hey, 107, what do you know? Judge was never coming here." All those kinds of things are on the. I can, what do you mean? 22.5 per year for Nimmo is a steal. Whatever the backlash.
I just think the Giants have, and that's another thing they talked about tonight in selling free agents, about selling the city. Dave Fleming said, "I live here in the city and we have a ton to offer," and some people out there, you have to, they've heard different things about San Francisco, and
if you're a baby and you're looking for fentanyl, there's no better city to find it.
Oh God.
I just think that, a lot of people, and I was watching this thing today on Baseball MLB regarding the guy said, Yankees, he's going to be a Yankee. The Yankees are storied, this, that, and why would he leave the Yankees? Well, you know what? Hey, Giants have 3 World Series since the Yankees last won one.
Dan, are you stealing Anonymous's take?
What's that? No, I already said it today. I tweeted on it.
Oh, sure.
You tweeted on it?
Yeah.
Did you put 5 on it?
Yeah. What was my?
I tweeted on it.
Let me see what I wrote.
Did you tweet all over it or just on it?
I said more East Coast
Rounded.
bias. Major League Baseball seems to forget the Giants have won 3 World Series titles in the last 10 years.
Oh, you
to the
tweeted up
Yankees
and in
0.
it.
And
You got all up in there.
Judge grew up a Giants fan. Both his wife's parents and his parents lived less than 2 hours from San Francisco. I think family and childhood dreams went out. Judge to be a Giant soon.
Look at you.
I feel this one. And I may be way off.
Where are you feeling it?
Right up here in the left shoulder here. Yeah. No, I'm
Have you called Judge offering to house sit at all, or because you already stated that you'll move to Linden.
That's right. I'll be up there close to Romo. Romo's not too far from Linden.
There you
Romo's about 30 minutes from Linden.
Here's the question: does Linden want Dan?
Hey,
what if Linden's slaps you down?
What if the entire
Dan
crew
to the hole and Linden's mayor just says,
instead of eating grapes,
that.
I'm going to be eating cherries in Linden.
Look at you.
What if we just get the Krueg community, the entire Krueg community, to move out to Linden, and then we immediately have 1/3 the population, and then we're just able to take over the town and just.
Do they have Wi-Fi in Linden?
I don't know. Well, that's part of it, is that we're gonna all get on big positions of power and vote each other in, and then we're gonna steal everyone's Wi-Fi.
Anonymous. He says that's a false equivalent, Larry. First, Judge, not Jeter, and will never come close to him. Second, Giants other than can I not read here? Second, Giants other than rings are one of the most storied franchises in MLB history. Judge can have legacy here. Okay.
I think here's the thing. I do think that's true with Anonymous. Judge could retire here on an 8-year deal, spend more of his career. He only's been in Yankees for 6 years. So if he finishes his final 8 years in San Francisco, look at the icons that the Giants have. Bonds, Mays.
I'd put our icons up against
and we
that.
lost a great one today in Gaylord Perry.
That's right. R.I.P. Gaylord.
Rest in peace, Gaylord. What a competitor, funny guy, just a real class guy that never took himself too serious, but was a
Giants, man, talk about a bad trade. When the Giants thought Gaylord was done, Gaylord had about 20 years left.
Yeah, they got rid of him for Sudden Sam McCormick. I'm like, you got to be kidding. Or McDowell, I mean, not McCormick. Yeah. I'm thinking
Sad Sam McDowell. Sam McDowell.
They called him Sudden Sam, didn't they?
I thought it was Sad Sam McDowell because he had kind of a.
I'm not sure. I thought it was
droopy face.
But he was nothing compared to what Gaylord did. Gaylord went on to win a Cy Young Award at 40.
Yeah. Gaylord was great. He was good in Cleveland. He was good in San Diego. He was good in a number of spots. Texas, right?
Yeah. And you look at all those people that they made out to be like New York Yankee icons. A lot of those guys were not all-time greats. They were good to above average players.
Are you making the Derek Jeter is overrated argument?
No, Derek Jeter was great. But Don Mattingly and
is overrated.
No, he's not an all-time great. He's good. He's not a Hall of Famer in my opinion.
It's just that, but he
Jorge
is magnificent.
Everyone is a Hall of Famer in my opinion. That's funny that you would say that. I think Mattingly absolutely is a Hall of Famer.
Then if he is, then Will Clark should be too.
Well, you can convince me of that as well. They both. I'll say this. I mean, it depends what you want in your Hall of Famer. Some people want an accumulation of stats. I want guys who were at the top of the game at some point. Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame. He was never top 5 MVP voting.
If Tim Lincecum
and Will Clark were the best in the game at times.
Right.
I bet
Dale Murphy belongs in the Hall of Fame. He was the best in the game in the early 80s. To me, I would rather take a guy who doesn't have quite the statistical resume accumulated, but was at one point the best player in the game, than have somebody who was never even top 5 in the game, but hung around forever and accumulated stats.
If Tim Lincecum was a New York Yankee and they won 3 World Series, even if he wasn't a big part of it, he would be a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Bumgarner.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting. Which of those guys they I don't know that either would get in, but there would be an awful lot. They'd get closer to getting in than they will now that they're not Yankees. So yeah, I mean that's interesting.
Also, most people, it seems like a lot of people go to New York because it's like, oh, flashy New York. Oh, maybe you got drafted by just some middle America baseball team, and you're like, oh, I want to go be at the top of the sport where the lights are the brightest and everyone talks about you and all this kind of stuff. And so that's normally the second half of someone's career when they really cash in with the Yankees. But you don't really see you don't see as often, you're right, like the guys leaving New York, but that's also because they buy a lot of their stars. They don't have that many homegrown like studs in the last like 30 years. So I could see like Judge being like the perfect case point. Like, all right, you know what? I was here in New York. I did it. I'm kind of ready to just kind of go back to a slightly less bright, just kind of a more comfortable environment for myself. Oh, Larry, I think you accidentally hit the cough.
Larry, you're there.
I think Danny was right in that. I mean, like if you listen to Judge at the end of the year, he sounded gone.
To me,
he sounded like he was leaving. So I think this has been in the works for quite a while. I think maybe.
I think he was insulted by the Yankees 7-year. $213.5 million offer.
Being booed in the playoffs might not have helped.
Right.
Yeah, it's
especially
like you have
after
a city,
having an historic season, and
it's like having a city of Grant Cohns, like that all like are always like changing opinions on you, but like very harshly and like.
Well, they offered him $30.5 million a year, and that was somewhat,
which is not disrespect. I don't
not disrespect, but when you compare that to some of the shortstops, I mean, how much did Corey Seager get? How much did some of these guys got 10 years, 325. I think Corey Seager was something like that, 32.
I'll give it to you. Hold on.
I mean, there's guys in the game that haven't done nearly what Judge is done.
Oh, Clarence Beeks. I love it. Oh, good. 10 million people, all assholes crammed into a peninsula, and it's 90% humidity, then 10 feet of snow. Woohoo,
Corey Seager signed 10 years, 325.
Yeah,
so he's getting
32.5.
32.5, then 35, then 34.5, then 32, and then 31.
What did Marcus Simeon get? I mean, who else got that big
Simeon
money?
got 7 years, 175. He makes 25 a year.
Okay, so how much did what was one of the other big guys that signed?
Baez.
Baez got, and then Betts has
Baez got a huge contract. I mean, I'll tell you what Baez got here in a second. Yeah, I mean, he's another guy. He's another guy who probably could trade for him.
Twas from back from real softball games. He follows up on the Instagram. Read his Instagram profile description. He changed it today. So it was an omission. He took out New York and he added a quote about, like the quote was about something about the future.
Who did?
Judge. Yeah.
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
I'm looking up his wife's and seeing if I can get
Javi Baez was 6 years, 140 million, 20 this year, 22 next year, 25, 25, 24, 24. I mean, that's another guy. You could get Javi Baez. So immediately, the people who sign these contracts, I mean, it's like you can't get rid of these guys fast enough.
No.
Yeah,
okay, so what he said is, if what you did yesterday still seems big today, then you haven't done anything today. Wait.
Oh, I saw that a week or so ago.
If what you did yesterday still seems big today, then you haven't done anything today. Okay.
That's been on there.
Danny's been hawking what's fresh material and what's not.
Well, I saw it a week or two ago because I was looking up his, I don't really even pay attention to Instagram, but I was looking at his just to see what his said. But I don't even know how to use the darn thing to find things.
What year was Judge born?
Carol T says, Larry, I fear you're right. The overpay for Brandon Nimmo, probably. I mean, that's just so Giants. It would be so Giants to talk Judge and overpay for Mitch Haniger and Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait, so what was he, a sophomore in high school when they won their first World Series or something like that? Maybe a sophomore going into junior year, I think. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, he probably definitely watched, like, all of those World Series and was, like, floored by it. Certainly.
Matthew Mears says the Yankees are a way better team than the Giants. Well, that's true. I mean, that's the one thing. Here's the one thing that I'm a little surprised by. If I really anticipated that Judge would have signed by now, or that the Giants would have signed somebody by now to show him that they're all in on winning. If they don't sign Judge and then wind up not signing, if they don't get one of the top tier shortstops and they don't sign Judge, man, it's going to be very, I think you're going to find a very skeptical Giant fan base. Hell of this, hell of that. He says trade prospects for Corbin Burns, sign Judge, Correa, and Josh Bell. Yeah. Now that would. There's your off season right there. You do that, and Danny will re-up.
I'd prefer that to Judge.
They're going Bell. They're not going to go after Josh Bell.
You don't think so?
No chance.
I like the idea of trading for Pavin Smith.
I think they're going to go internal. I think they're going internal at first base. I think they're going to go.
Well, that's a nightmare because they have nobody.
I heard him talk about it tonight. I mean, they're basically
Logan Wyatt or something, or who do they got?
No, they're looking at combination between Flores and VR and JD Davis and Lamont Wade. Kapler mentioned Wade as a guy that could,
see, that's why they're the Giants, because that's going to suck.
What they're really trying to do, what their goal is right now, just so everybody has an idea, they're trying to shore up obviously with Judge, the corner outfield, and then up the middle. They want 2 outfielders. They did kind of mention that. I think they're looking for an everyday center fielder, and
Kiermaier.
And I think they're looking at Nimmo. Nimmo and Bellinger are the guys they're going after, I believe.
I'd rather have Bellinger.
Oh, of course. I'd love to have Bellinger out there. I mean, I think the thing is,
what do you think? What do you guys think of Nimmo?
I like Nimmo. He gets on base.
Dan loves Nimmo.
He on base percentage last year was close to 400. It's like high threes, I want to say. I mean, you're getting on the base 38, 39% of the time. That's pretty good, especially as the leadoff guy with speed, a little bit of pop. I don't think, you probably end up overpaying for him. He's probably going to get 5 years wherever he goes, and you're probably not going to be happy with the last year or two of it. But, Giants are in a situation that calls for them to do something drastically. They cannot come in
the
third
ballpark.
They can't come in third place behind the Dodgers and the Padres and not compete. They've got to have a star, and that's why I believe
Nimmo. I like Nimmo. Don't get me wrong.
he's not a star.
274, 16 homers, 64 RBIs. You're not reeling in shit with
What's his
Brandon
on-base
Nimmo.
percentage? What's his on-base percentage?
His on-base percentage?
About 385, I think.
Let me check.
367.
That's it?
Fellas, on a more
For last year or for his career?
Well, last year. 264 against lefties, 280 against righties, 234 at home, 406 on the road.
Yeah. See, I think what their goals are is to they want obviously
563 in
judges.
October.
They did mention that, they have a top 5 that they're looking at, and they've been pretty aggressive with it. And the question was, what happens if your number 6 guy
The question should have been how many of those guys are major leaguers?
Well, no, the question is how many of your top 5, how many of the players that you have in your top 5 do you believe that have you as in their top 2?
Well, they're in their top. Their top.
The answer is probably none.
Guys, I have a macro question for you two specifically as, lifelong Giants fans and residents of the area. So obviously in basketball, maybe it's just the Steph Curry Warriors thing, but it seems like everyone wants to go play for the Golden State Warriors. The lights are really bright, and this is a great area to live, and there's lots of money in Silicon Valley. The Niners are an institution. They're a super flashy franchise that gets eyeballs, and people want to go play for the Niners. Tom Brady wants to play for the Niners. When it comes to the Giants, do you think that it's just like the demographic of baseball, where it's the one sport where I would say it's majority kind of conservative, and there sort of is a sort of a spin nationally of like San Francisco as this really like dangerous, crime-ridden place that like you shouldn't go? Like, I don't understand why so many players don't want to come here.
Believe me, it doesn't help.
It doesn't
I think
help
California taxes maybe has an impact when you're talking about the dollar figures that these guys make, because it's a huge.
But what about the
tax
Padres
burden.
and the Dodgers? Like, they're just dominating.
Right. But so I think that all the California teams have to deal with that. I think you do
really
have to pay
affect
to some degree.
And even the Angels, like every team in California has a plethora of stars except for San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
I think it really has to be from the standpoint. It's 2 reasons. The Giants don't bid on them in free agency, and they don't develop them in their farm system. And if you don't, and they don't have good enough prospects to trade for them. So if you don't have prospects, that means you're not trading for them, and they're not coming out of your system. So the only way to get stars is to sign them. And why, if you're a big time hitter, would you come here unless you're at the very end of your career, or they're dramatically overpaying you, because you're not setting yourself up for your next contract worth a damn by playing in a huge ballpark where, that suppresses offense.
But also it's like everyone did see, like they did move him in, and like everyone saw Bonds hit a zillion home runs here. And it's like, this is like one of the 5, most impactful franchises.
Right? But there's stats now that show them exactly where where Oracle Park resides compared to the other parks, as far as hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and there's so many stats that they can look at any number of them and decipher that they're going to have bigger numbers somewhere else. So what does that mean? That doesn't mean that nobody will sign here, but I don't think you're going to get guys ever to do it on the cheap. And like, give you an example. I'd love for the Giants to get Bellinger, but realistically, the Giants do not align with Bellinger and his plan. His plan through his agent, Boris, is to sign for 1 year, have a monster deal, and ride that monster season into free agency next year and get huge money long term. Well, there's like 20 ballparks he could play in that he's got a chance to put up bigger numbers than here. So
now MLB,
here would be where you'd come if you wanted to win a World Series and you thought you could do it here, or maybe you had a tie to the area like a Judge. This is why Judge is more important than Ohtani, more important than other guys, because Aaron Judge is from here. Aaron Judge grew up a Giants fan. So if the Giants can't get with their deep pockets, if they can't even get the homegrown players who grew up idolizing their team to sign here, who are you going to get? This, in some ways, this might be the Giants' last stand at getting a big time offensive player to sign here, because if you can't get Aaron Judge, who's from here, who can you get?
I know. Well, and that's what I don't understand is it's like, I totally get that like small ballpark thing, but like what Anonymous said, all 61 of Judge's home runs would have still been home runs at Oracle last year. Since they brought in the fences, like it's made a tremendous difference. I mean, I think the Giants led the bigs in home runs last year.
Or in 21 they did.
Yeah. Or sorry, in 21. So
I agree with him that assessment. I mean, Jack Clark was the same way. It's like when he hit him, he went from Candlestick to Busch. Busch was the only stadium that was bigger than Candlestick, but the dude didn't care. Why? Yeah. Because when he hit them, they were so majestic. There wasn't a park in the big leagues that kept it in, inside the yard. So yeah, I think MLB in a lot of ways, Network, Judge is that same guy.
MLB Network just put out a tweet 11 minutes ago. It says, let me make sure this is the official one. I believe.
But like, so then like I see this, like Steelers have 6 rings, yet it's not an appealing franchise to free agents. They want to go to Hollywood. I understand that, but also, I mean, it's not like San Francisco is Pittsburgh. Like, come on. Like, yeah. San Francisco is like one of the most booming, like marketable opportunity places in the whole country. It's more than the Angels, even if you are in LA.
Yeah. Here's the
Padres.
Here's the little tweet. It says, all rise for potentially some serious power in the Bay. MLB Network. San Francisco Giants potential 23 starting lineup with Aaron Judge. Now, I don't like this lineup because all they did is add Judge. It's not what the Giants are going to do, but they've got Wade, Gonzalez 1, then Judge 2, Jock at DH, JD Davis batting cleanup. Come on. Yastrzemski in center, Flores at third, Crawford at short, Estrada at second, Bart at catcher. I can guarantee you the Giants are not going to stop if they get Judge. There'll be another everyday player in that lineup. And
I think
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
I think like I'm not trying to get like political or anything at all. I just honestly believe that it really does kind of the narrative about San Francisco. I think if you've never really been here, is kind of like, oh no, like, if your kids go there, like they're going to be brought up to think a certain way and you're going to be, there's all this crime and all this stuff. When in reality, like guys like Judge that are from here, like understand, like it's a freaking massive place. There's a million different places to live with different, like all these different. Yeah. It's like everything's here.
You're not going to sign in New York because of the Bronx, the South Bronx.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you not going to sign in Philly because of its proximity to Camden, New Jersey? Are you not going to sign with the Dodgers because of South Central? I mean, it's just come on.
I mean,
Romo 2001 says, "Here's $5. Notice that Judge and the Giants are quiet, and the Yankees are barking away. Have no idea if that means anything, but Judge likes to keep private."
I like that
That's
too.
Interesting.
I think
MF says
I do think the Giants and Judge's camps have a handshake, and they're just waiting for the. That's my gut. Like I said, I could be way off on this, but I'm going with the fact that I don't think Aaron Judge.
When does it get done? Because to me, it makes sense that it'll
be done within
tomorrow.
I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, but it will be before next Wednesday when the meetings close. And I think it's toward the beginning of the meetings, because when Judge signs, it's a domino effect. Everything else starts going in it. And here's the thing I'll say about Farhan.
You think the meetings begin and he still is unsigned? Because I think there's a chance that he signs going into the meetings.
He may, and he may be the talk going into the meetings. Yes. Here's my belief. Farhan, for all his moves that I've been critical of,
and there have been many.
Yeah, we all have made some, many moves.
But
yes.
Nobody more than you.
Yeah. I don't know. So
don't you walk back from those takes, Danny. Don't you walk back from them.
Nobody's lit up Farhan quite like Dan Coachimilio.
No, I'll say this about Farhan. He does.
And nobody's ripped him more than you have.
Hey, come on, Lair. Wally. I do think he knows
that you've been ripping him.
The stuff. He knows the read of the temperature of what's going on around the league. A couple years ago, he said it was going to be very slow. I remember one meetings he says it was going to be slow, and he thought signings would drag on until March, and they did. He seems to know. Like I said, he has a good temperature of what's going on. He
made it seem like they were getting Juan Soto.
No, he expects next week to be very active. So that's positive. The fact is,
but I don't know.
A lot of meetings.
This is a guy who specializes in Vosler. You know what I mean? I can't.
He's talking
show me.
About,
treat me like stuff. Missouri. Show me.
Yeah.
Show me.
I need to get over there. Taupe. How do you say that? Taupe or Taupe? Taupe.
Top
That
is hard.
Dan, are you going to San Diego? I may be going.
The whales
may be descending on San Diego.
I may be descending on San Diego. But the problem is I don't want to go on Sunday and leave during the Niner game, you know. So and if I go Saturday, I got to make sure if it may not be televised in San Diego. See, I have the Sunday ticket.
Why don't you go watch? You could watch. Watch the Niners in San Diego. Go to they have tons of football
go to trophies,
places.
Man. Go to one of those sports bars. I mean, seriously, I got buddies who own sports bars down there. I can get you set up with a booth.
MF, yes, MF will come on. I mean, Ned will come on.
Ned is going to come on during the winter meetings. Also, the great Chris Townsend, who's doing his show from there, is coming on. He'll be at the meetings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's going to join us one of those days, maybe two of those days, on the live stream from the lobby. So we got Townie joining us as well.
Everybody's getting on. Well, not everybody.
Oh my God, that is. I was like, and then I read the last.
What's that?
I want you to read that, Dan. You can say it because you are one of your
Ryan and Lairs. I've been on Farhan's case since the Giants hired him 19. I think I take that award of ripping that bald
mole rat.
We don't you know how that plays. The Krueg show was ripping.
Yeah,
it's all it's me. It's me. I have to wear that one.
Let's all worship. Let's agree to worship at the altar of Farhan temporarily if they get Judge.
Well,
I like Farhan, but if he doesn't get Judge, I will turn on him faster than you've ever seen. MF, does the Giants' interest? Wait a second. Hold on a second.
Oh, sorry.
Does the Giants' interest in Wong mean LaStella is gone?
I don't
think we're that lucky.
I don't see any place for LaStella on this roster.
LaStella is a sunken cost. At
he's like a barnacle hanging on.
I think they'll figure out a way to move LaStella. That's my guess. David Hasselhoff, I had to leave Malibu. Everyone is so stuck up over there.
Look at the group there. I don't know if you could see it. It's kind of dark on my phone. Those three guys sitting together, Farhan's in the middle there.
Farhan sandwich?
Dave Fleming's at a hotel in, I think he said Mobile, Alabama. Ooh. And he's probably got a game covering this week.
Who's next to Farhan? Who's flanking Farhan?
It's Gabe, and then who's to the left?
Petulia.
Did he look really young in person?
Yeah, he did. Oh, They're
Oh,
in a
Dan, your nudes.
Oh, your porn. Thanks
you
for
won't-
giving us that one.
You won't find that on my phone.
Oh,
Dan, I thought that was your head, but it's
you notice how Dan didn't say it doesn't exist. He said you won't find it on his
It
phone.
don't
well, we all
exist.
know if there's one guy that's tech savvy enough to keep it away from us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Danny will be putting that thing out. He'll have that on every social platform.
Meet with teams, to visit teams, to set up a lot of activity for next week. So, for us, we're looking to add a starting pitcher. We're looking to add to the bullpen, somebody to be in the 7, 8, 9 mix. The bullpen, we led the league in bullpen ERA in 2021, took a step back last year. So we want to change that mix a little bit. We're looking at adding somebody that can maybe pair with Doval at the end of games and give Cap
Henley
and Andrew Bailey and our entire staff some stability there. And again, looking to add a couple of position players who can upgrade us defensively.
My wife's
ideally, guys who can
running the
lengthen
sink.
our lineup and occupy some of the spots in the middle of that order too. So we have a long shopping list. Other teams do as well. Surely other teams have been.
Beeks is on one
is
tonight.
Farhan multitasking? It sounds like he's doing the dishes.
That's my
and
wife.
He's talking.
He's like, I gotta get my waiver
That would
claim
be
in.
awesome if he's got an SOS pad and he's just like, look, I need a closer. God damn, the stuff's caked on here.
Oh, you know what it is? It's Tommy LaStella. I can't get it off.
Guys that you're talking to, do you need an answer first, or can you do other stuff while you still talk and negotiate and wait?
Yeah, I guess he's really a special case. He's in a class and category all by himself. I think where the strategy comes in a little bit is, say, with the starting pitching market or the reliever market. Let's say you get a call from the agent of the starting pitcher who's 6th on your pref list, and he says he's coming off the board, and it's a deal that you think is pretty reasonable. And then the question is, do you strike? Do you hope that one of your top 5 guys becomes available? Maybe with the 6-foot guy on your list, you have some clarity on what the price would be, and maybe that creates some more definition for you down the road. So right now, the market hasn't been terribly active yet. There's been a couple of trades. There's been a few free agent signings. So we haven't been faced with those forks in the road that often. But
there are forks scraping a plate.
To land guys at the top of our prep list. So, I think some of what's going to be interesting for us over the next few days is when guys who are maybe right outside the top of our list seem like they're coming off the board. That's where the timing can become more complicated. But, a guy like Aaron Judge, he's sort of in a category all by himself. And I don't think anybody's going to be dictating the timing on when somebody like that makes their decision.
Dave, is it almost like a draft board?
I was going to say, he's making it sound like a
spend a lot of
draft.
time creating that sort of preference ranking list, however you want to put it?
Yeah, I think Farhan does a nice job of leading in that regard. So the way it might work is we talk about a group of free agents that we're interested in signing, and then Farhan may ask us all to kind of think about how we rank them out. And then the group collectively decides how aggressively we want to go after them. Obviously, my job at this time of year is to support that process, right? It's not to lead that process. My job is still, this is really exciting for me, so I don't want to diminish this, but my job is still to think about the players that are already in Giants uniforms and make trips, see them, support them, make sure that they're doing what they need to do to be great to start the 23 season. That said, this is also a big opportunity for me personally. If I'm sitting in front of a player that we've talked about, and we've gone through that process with, now it's like a game, it's an at-bat. It's the opportunity to make that player feel special and like he can do really good things in San Francisco. And we all take that responsibility really seriously.
How much do you think, Gabe, because Farhan mentioned it, living in San Francisco, look, I've lived there for most of my life. I love it. It's my favorite place in the world. But, it can be a loaded word in some parts of the country, and people have really strong feelings about our city in both directions. Do you have to do some of the sales work on like, hey, maybe it's not exactly what you heard, or maybe it's a lot different than what you think.
Maybe it's way worse than what you're
how
hearing.
much of that talk comes up with most of these guys.
This will probably sound a little performative, but I assure you it's genuine as it can be. It is such an easy sell to talk about the great things that we have to offer in San Francisco. One of the things that we say in recruiting, and we've talked about this in some of like a video or something that we might create for a player, is, you know, in the most beautiful city in the country. And we actually believe that. So it's not hard. We talk about the great restaurants. We talk about the clubhouse culture. We talk about,
unlike some of the other stuff we say,
the great places in the city and the neighborhoods that players might be interested in living, and their
Might be
families
afraid
might be
to go
interested in
to.
living. And then there's kind of a cool and easy transition, because right now Pete is in the process of looking for the right space for him and his loved ones. So with that, like, Pete can talk about what he's looking for too. And I think collectively the three of us have no problem selling living in this city. It's pretty easy.
You know, one other thing I'd add there, Dave, is some of our best salespeople in this regard are our own players. You know, players who have either come up through our system and are sort of lifetime Giants, or even players who come from other organizations. A lot of times those guys have played with, some of the players that we're considering pursuing in free agency. And when those guys reach out to those players and say, I love playing here, I love the Giants organization, I love our clubhouse, we have great character in our clubhouse, there's so much to do in this city, and I can, connect our partners to talk to each other if that would be helpful. That's by far the best way for us to sell the city and what it's like to live here. And our players have been awesome. We have a group of players right now that we, fortunately love being Giants, love living in San Francisco. And they're some of
finishing
our
32 games
best
behind the
assets
Dodgers.
in this recruiting effort.
Just unleash Jock on all of them.
He unleashes himself, so we don't have to do much.
That is a fact. He's not shy. Pete, what else at the winter meetings is on your plate? Meeting some of the...
Pete's kind of boring, so I won't bore you with that.
Well, I mean, okay, let's talk about this for a second. The Giants have, reality, and then there's real reality. They talk like the world is their oyster, and they have all these choices. But then when it gets actually time to make the move, it's $20 million for a platoon DH in Jock Peterson. It's $6 million for a washed up 200 hitting outfielder in Mike Yastrzemski. So that, you don't want to spend too much money, but you just gave $25 million combined to Tommy La Stella and Anthony DiSclafani. And if you could get rid of that money off your payroll, you would. So you know what? That's their reality.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough
We're
situation.
talking Judge. We're talking Bellinger. We're talking Trey Turner. We're talking big-time guys, Kenley Jansen and big-time starters. The reality is they've paid $26 million, and they've got Jock Peterson and Mike Yastrzemski, 2 platoon players to re-up. That's their reality.
Yeah, Farhan said something about Jock. They asked him about the qualifying offer of 19.6 or whatever million it was, and he said they felt like because of the shift changes that that will help Jock with his batting average. And then Farhan, with his chuckle, said Jock thinks he's going to win the batting title next year. The way he's talking,
he thinks he's going to get enough plate appearances to qualify. What a joker!
So anyway, I mean, it should help. It'll probably. That's why you got to have athletic second baseman and shortstop, because you got to have guys that can dig it. Get into the hole, get up the middle, and pick those balls, because there will be a lot more hits next year with the shift being banished. So, I think it's going to be a very
glass half full guy
week.
says here's $4.99. To me, Farhan is full of crap with all of his blusterous big free agent talk. It's all talk until proven otherwise. I mean, seriously, you cannot talk big. You cannot talk big and deliver what he's delivered. And then look at what he's actually done. $25 million guaranteed for Jock Peterson and Mike Yastrzemski. Mike Yastrzemski has hit under 230 in back-to-back seasons, and you just guaranteed him $6 million when there's nobody in baseball that was going to give him $6 million guaranteed. So, sorry, call me skeptical with the Giants and their pie in the sky talk. I'll believe it when the check clears. I'll believe it when somebody tells them yes. Right now, they've talked big and they've overpaid for 2 platoon players, and they got a ton of holes. So let's see.
Yeah, they got a lot of holes, and they need. Here's what they need. They need
Larry,
a starting
are you
pitcher.
an analytics denier? I'm not an analytics denier. I just all this positive talk about the Giants, and then when you go see what they actually do, it's such a disappointment. They should have kissed off Mike Yastrzemski. There's going to be guys that sign after spring training starts that are not going to get what Yaz got, that are going to outperform him by leaps and bounds. So what was the urgency to get Yaz signed?
I think he was arbitration eligible, and he would have got $5+ million anyway. So it was like,
let him go.
Yeah, they could have let him go. They could have non-tendered him. Correct. They could have non-tendered him, and who knows?
You could have, if they had let him sit out there, he was not. They could have gotten him for $3 million in February, guaranteed. They just blew $3 million so they can have somebody under contract.
Maybe it's part of marketing for Judge. Like, hey, remember Yaz was kind of good like 3 years ago. We got Yaz.
I mean, you say you need more everyday guys, but then you re-sign Jock, you re-sign Yaz, you want to bring back Wade. They're all platoon guys.
Yeah, and I do think they're going to have. They have. So
what are we talking about?
They got to add to this team.
They
just have to. And if they fall short, they're going to pay a big price at the ticket gate.
They're going to pay a giant price.
Yeah, a giant price. Yeah, they will pay.
GTC Reels. Good evening, everybody. Dan, your fantasy team sucks. God, man, that's really harsh for Dan.
Wait a minute. My fantasy team sucks? Are you talking about the Krueg League or my baseball fantasy?
Clarence Beeks was listening to the teleconference. Please shut it off.
Did you see I put up a 10-minute video of paint drying?
Hey, you guys
MF says Kenley Jansen, ? I could see Kenley Jansen. It sounds like they're kicking tires.
I'm telling you,
3 years, $80 million. Yeah.
I'm
what do you need a closer for if you don't ever lead in the late innings?
But but Larry, you need him so that you can platoon closer.
All right. I always go positive in the off season. I forget what's behind. I press on.
There was something about your off season that sucked.
I forget what's behind. I press on forward.
You're way better in season.
So I go in full character when it's necessary. So right now I'm gonna pump up the Giants. I'm gonna pump up
Ramos family. Farhan sounds like a crook.
I'm gonna pump up Farhan, and if he doesn't come through and he pulls the same shenanigans with this team that we saw last year, and it's
shenanigans are too benign of a word.
Yeah, I mean
that sounds accidental. Shenanigans, it's more like orchestrated death than shenanigans.
Yeah,
I like to smash cut from the season of Dan getting so frustrated saying no chance he renews to now when he's positive Dan in the offseason and he renews. Then he says, oh, next year I will not renew if we don't do anything. And then it gets to the offseason and you get positive.
I've been dealing with this for over 50 years. This is the offseason.
This is your routine.
Is the exciting time.
You talk a lot of trash and then you
get a little excited. I get pumped up.
You're goddamn Deion Sanders over here.
This is what being a fan is. It's kind of, we're all hoping, rooting. We all kind of go to our Twitter and look and see any updates or, it's part of getting through life.
Fair. You know what?
Remix channel, con artist.
Yeah, you're not even an artist.
So, and then,
GTC Reels.
Hey, if you listen,
Reels, dude, Farhan is selling you all a bill of goods.
Hey, if you really took sports at its real
Romo, I truly can't stand Kapler. Kepler is like the hardest guy to like of all time.
Yeah. If you took sports at its and just brought it down to its what we do and what we talk about sports, and you broke it down to nuts and bolts of everything. We're just all talking kind of a lot of nonsense, trying to figure everything out week to week.
Not me. I just say it how it is.
I mean, week to week, our takes change based on the performance of the game to game, But in reality, is Farhan was given a 5-year contract. This is his 5th year. If he doesn't perform, you're fired. That's how you do it. You just fire him. But if he comes through, let's give him one more chance. I do think he's going to.
If the Giants sign Judge, is Carol T. If the Giants sign Judge, Kapler will platoon him with Austin Slater.
Well, that's just smart.
No, that would be with either Wade, Gonzalez, or Yaz. I don't know. We'll see. They did talk about
somebody's like, this is making me upset. LOL.
Well, what do you guys think?
Man.
I mean, let's go on record. I'm on record. I've been on record, and I'm not changing it. The Judge is coming to the Giants.
I'm on record as well. They will kick tires on Judge, and they will overpay for Brandon Nimmo.
That's right.
If I could bet on it, I would bet so hard on the Yankees just so it happens.
Somebody says, the Tenderloin is a beautiful area.
Well,
Alex Barbado.
Calba
donates $10. Sorry, I'm late. So Dan got suckered into re-upping. Did Dan insist on Pablo and Papirski signings? In my opinion, I wouldn't have re-upped without a promise of Dixon Machado as well, but that's just me.
What in Machado?
Calva's taking Danny out back and
Calva,
just
I'll take you out next week in week 14 and knock your butt right out of the playoffs. How's that?
At this rate, Dan's going to be the guy like handing you like your direction. Dan's going to be like an usher. He's gonna be like, oh, you know what? Yes, Beanie Babies will be handed out 20 minutes before the game at Gate A, and you can there'll be autographs.
Yes, I can pass that message along to Mr. Farhan.
Oh yes, I'll tell. Yes, you're right. I will tell them that the crab sandwich is a little pricey. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I've got welcome to Giants.
I've got Calva next week in week 14, and I got half my teams on bye.
Oh no!
Humble season ticket salesman. Such a beautiful and vibrant city. Watch out for the human feces.
Yeah, it sounds like the Qatar or Qatar, whatever it is, World Cup people.
Exactly.
They're like, it is wonderful that we're here in Qatar to celebrate the world's game. Beautiful.
Is it true that you built all these facilities with slave labor?
Come on.
Well, there's nothing
like
to
I
see
said,
here.
it is a beautiful celebration of
is there anybody
the beautiful
positive
game.
in the room? Come on, somebody's got
I'm positive they won't get Judge and that they'll overpay for Haniger and Nimmo.
Oh, dear,
right,
Larry,
I'm going to bet
They
you
won't
on
even
that.
get
I'm going to
Nimmo.
bet you on that.
Haniger and Nimmo, major overpays.
Dan, I'll bet you minus 110, just 50-50. I say he's a Yankee.
Haniger and Nimmo is like, I mean, it's like a law firm that will be with the Giants for years to come.
Yeah.
Haniger.
Were you harmed? We've got the platoon of Haniger
Did you
and
go
Nimmo.
to Camp Lejeune? Well, Haniger and Nimmo didn't, and they can help you. But you have to file your paperwork by the end of the week.
SecureMoney.com.
That's the one thing. When sometimes I think of what my parents didn't do for me, I think to myself, at least they didn't take us to Camp Lejeune. You know what I mean?
I don't know what that is, but it sounds scary.
Glass half full says, Larry, do you think
Larry?
Do you think of the Giants using
lad.
Curry? Larry, do you think, maybe what do you think? I bet is the what's missing. Larry, what do you think of the Giants using Curry to recruit Judge? Who's the first guy the Giants pivot to if not Judge?
Okay,
Larry.
First of all, I love that they're using Steph to recruit Judge. But, you know, I mean, as far as will it work? I don't know.
Did you see he said he was a Sox fan? He said, I'll do everything I can.
Curry, yeah.
Given I'm a Red Sox fan or something.
No, he's isn't Curry he's a Red Sox fan?
Yeah. There's no team in Carolina growing up.
So it's probably
Maybe
like the
you get
04
breaks, man.
team happened at like a pivotal point. I mean, I was rooting hard for
Who do
that
the
team
Giants
too.
pivot to? No, they pivot to Haniger
Correa.
and Nimmo.
No,
Haniger, well,
Correa.
they'll probably pivot to
Correa.
Carlos Correa,
Three
but they'll
nuts.
probably strike out on Carlos Correa.
And then they'll wait too long, and Haniger and Nemo will be gone.
My guess is it's a Haniger, Nimmo, Didi Gregorius offseason.
Well, you know, if you combine the stats of all three of them, it's actually a little bit better than Judge.
What do you think of-
Didi actually has had tremendous years. And
You know what would be awesome?
welcome
though,
to Ask the Giants.
Can you imagine if you got Judge and Trey Turner, the speed of Trey Turner? That's what this team needs. Is
Oh
speed.
God, Dan! Now you're just now. Did you take something? Because now this
Yeah.
is getting way too
Seriously,
positive.
Didi's
Oh, it ain't
way
gonna
too
happen.
optimistic.
But I'm just saying,
You go to
you know.
one goddamn meet and greet, and suddenly you're singing the praises of everything.
Well,
You're
it
like
was-
you're like the guy going, "Hey, you know what? This crab sandwich is a freaking deal.
I'd pay 30.
What?
In fact,
$18.50 for a sandwich? That's it? Give me 3 of them.
oh, I'd pay 30. Oh, wait, it is 30 with
Wait a
fees and
second.
taxes. Oh, perfect.
$60 to park? Here's 100. Keep the change. I don't need my cash." Danny's just fully drinking the Kool-Aid. Unbelievable. Is this what's going to happen if we get you a credential? You're just going to be like, Farhan,
Well,
you were so right to pick up Haniger when everybody else wanted you to go for Judge. What did you know about Haniger that the rest of us didn't? You know, things like that. Questions like that in April. when the guy's got like 9 at-bats and he's like 5 for 9 and like Judge starts slow.
Yeah.
And then you're already taking victory laps. Hey, Farhan, you paid a third of what they paid for Judge, and you got Haniger, and Haniger's off to a blistering start. He's 3 for his last 7. You know, taking some victory lap.
Hey,
Like
JD
April
Davis
9th.
has more home runs than Juan Soto did.
Oh my God. Seriously, the Giants people on Twitter who are like, JD Davis is twice the player that Soto is. Have you not watched the last couple weeks? It's like, my God, please stop.
Let's hear the final, the closing here. This is the last piece I taped.
Oh,
But
the
like,
closing.
do you
In
feel like
closing-
we're going to get some news here soon? Is there a timeline in your own heads about how this is going to unfold here over the next few weeks or so?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're building up some momentum, and guys that we have been talking to, you know, you hear agents saying they're targeting next week to make a decision to really bring markets to a head. And so we think there's going to be a lot of activity, and we're very active. So hopefully we'll have news on a couple of new Giants next week. That's certainly the goal.
Has your phone been buzzing while we've been doing this conversation?
Well, we've been down here all day in meetings, and my phone's at like 14%. So if somebody's calling to accept one of our offers,
I spent like 40 minutes on the toilet going over my waiver
I never
wire.
get that message. So should probably
It
get
was literally true that you guys were in a player meeting as we were supposed to be starting this, and you had to end the player meeting to do this call.
I mean, I literally had to interrupt the cap mid-sentence to say, hey, like, we have a call. Like, as you know, so
The free agent's like, wait, what? What's this?
Yeah. Huh? Who? Fleming? No. Sorry. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck in San Diego for the winter meeting. Pete, can't wait to get to know you better actually in person. Welcome to the Giants. I think it's really exciting that you're here. I did the World Series for MLB International, so I was there in Houston. Extremely impressive work you all did.
So
Let's get a couple more suckage.
yeah,
You've been incredibly impressive in your time in other spots. I've admired you from afar greatly.
The fact that he did say offers, he says, so hopefully we'll get a call back on some of our
I
offers.
forgot about elated.
So they've made multiple
Yeah,
offers.
how come nobody pushed on the elated? Hey, you jokers were supposedly all elated last week. Where's this elation coming from? Explain the elation.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's all controlled. You can't answer. I wish it was like
GTC Real sums it up.
Q&A.
What a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's you know,
Carlo P. Larry's face while listening to that is priceless. Thank you. It's a priceless face. What can I say? Oh my God. That is just awesome. It's sad. It is sad because it's like, you just get like Ned was such a deal maker, right? He always put together big deals. I just get the feeling that like the Giants are so easily used these days by the agents, Doesn't it seem like they're just going to be manipulated and like, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, we're talking big names, man. We're talking about Carlos Correa and Aaron Judge, and something tells me it's going to be.
Well, there is a few positives.
It's going to be Mitch Anderson and Didi Gregorius, and then there's going to be a bunch of people saying, "Well, let's just see how it goes," And it's like, okay, we can play the we'll see game forever. Yeah. Danny, I know you're hopeful, but I mean,
you can pretty much play it up until what, like July. You can be like, well, it's a 162 game season. Hey, one game doesn't mean.
They signed Judge to like an 8-year plus, $40 million a year deal, and he hits like 220, 18 homers.
I'll tell you his stat line. He'll hit 279 and 29 home runs.
Play well. It really doesn't. They're not that right now. They lack relevancy. If you're irrelevant, doesn't really like nobody went to their games. They won 107 games the year before. Nobody went the next year. What does that tell you?
Well, if you want to get me going, which I won't do on this particular show, I have some reasons why people aren't showing up. But that's
color another.
Why are people not showing up?
That's another. Well, I think it's just the way the cities run themselves, the way they've done things.
I think all that's a little overblown.
You're gonna blame London Breed for all this?
I'll blame her for some of it, and the way they handled.
I sounded like I was pushing back, but I probably agree with you. But go ahead.
I'll say some of the.
Why do you blame Miss Breed?
Just the way they handled some of the COVID stuff. Other places were allowing more people.
She had to see Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All that same stuff is happening.
Remember, that was
LA,
the beautiful part of the pandemic.
Yeah, but LA was
the
allowed.
Mayor of San Francisco is explaining to us that the reason that she's not abiding by her own mask mandate is because she had to see Tony. But you don't understand. It was Tony. Oh, Tony. I mean, at least have it be like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah,
have it be somebody good from yesteryear. Oh, that was classic.
Oh, some of the people are coming at me. Good. Bring it.
Yeah,
what are they saying?
I agree with Eric Hernandez.
Dan for
it's
city
the product
mayor?
on the field. People will show up for Warriors.
Dan is unvaccinated and believes in conspiracy theories. Oh man.
When should we play the Aaron Banks interview?
Yeah. Wait a second. We got this one. GTC Real. Tony has done it again. You guys don't understand that she had to go see Tony. And that's why her mask was askew. Oh my God. Such a joke. Okay. Let's do this. Let's take a timeout. We'll pay the bills. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about a couple last thoughts. And then we've got an interview with Aaron Banks from earlier today. We're going to let you hear all of that coming up next.
15 minutes.
Yeah, really, really good in-depth deal with the great Aaron Banks. But first, a word from our sponsors on the Krueg Show.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coach Emilio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled. And they are a proud sponsor.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh, no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York Style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York Style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, you got the Pasquale wink. That means we're coming down the home stretch on the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger, Dan Coach Emilio wearing the Giants gear. Ryan Smith looking down at who knows?
Actually,
right now, what he's
Under
looking
Armour.
at.
I don't know. It's not even Giants, but it looks Giants.
There you go. It looks Giants. Alex Barbato says, Larry, where do you think Aaron Judge will buy? Do you think if he comes here? Alamo, Blackhawk? You know, that's a great question. Okay. If you had that kind of money, so money is no object, and you can buy anywhere in the Bay Area because, as I just said, money's no object. You can spend as much as you want on a home. Where's it going to be? Where are you going to live? Pacific Heights, the marina. You're living in the city.
From a flavor standpoint.
You are you going Oakland Hills?
You could go there. You could go
Kensington, Berkeley, Point Richmond. Some of the homes on the water in Point Richmond are incredible.
Danville,
I'll tell you, I know where I'm
Arinda.
going.
Could go Napa.
I'm buying a house like atop like Reed Ranch Road in like Tiburon.
Tiburon's
Tiburon.
nice.
Tiburon's my spot. That would be. Now, I'm not a tennis player or anything, but man, the views in Tiburon are just absolutely incredible. And
maybe he likes it a little quieter. Napa might be.
You got to deal with the Golden Gate Bridge too. I don't know about that, but Tiburon, I'd have a hard time beating Tiburon. Now, I'm not crazy about Marin, but Tiburon's pretty nice. The East Bay is not bad. I mean, we don't really have a beach community. I guess you could say Seacliff. That's where the late Robin Williams used to live, and Seacliff is incredible. Marina, my buddy used to live at Camino del Mar, right there at the end of like the avenues at the end of Lake Street. Seacliff, there's some beautiful homes that look out over the Pacific Ocean and over by the bridge. Only thing is, it's so goddamn foggy and cold. Who wants to be, if you're going to be on the water, why would you want to be there? I'd want to be somewhere, maybe further south, but then it's like, the coast in the Bay Area is pretty cold. So, I'm sure there's, you could say Napa. You could say like places like the hills of Windsor, like Santa Rosa. That area is beautiful.
Who's your internet provider, Larry?
What's that?
It's getting a little roboto.
Who's your internet provider? We'll give him a shout out.
Why is it glitching a little bit?
Yeah. No, you're all fogged up. And looks like you're on the coast.
I don't know.
It's a little bit kind of like what happened last time. It was a little
maybe I got to reboot.
A little roboto.
Yeah.
You know what? We can play the
reboot in the middle of this.
Yeah. We could play the Aaron Banks interview right now too while you're rebooting if you want.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. We got an interview.
I'm glitching with Banksy. Once you intro it.
We got an interview with Aaron Banks. Larry asked all the questions, but we had I should say Larry basically had an interview with Aaron Banks. It was a solid 15 minutes.
Wow.
I wasn't mic'd up, so.
You just held you were the camera person?
I was just the camera person because we were supposed to do this thing where we connected with London today and had them ask questions, but then they had to bail because World Cup stuff or something.
Yeah.
And so then I just had to set up for just the player. So then I just did it with just Larry. But I did talk with him after. We were talking a little basketball. He played on my same AAU basketball team from like 5th through 8th grade, and then MVP flight, and then he went on
here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and then he went on to play for the Soldiers. So he knows Carl Foster, and
that's
here we
cool.
go.
With Aaron Banks and Aaron, what'd you think of the win over the Saints?
I think it was a good team win. I think I could have played a bit better. I think it was a down game for me, so just looking forward to getting better this week and putting better tape out there and playing a better game.
Well, when you say it was a down game for you, you've had a great year. You've had a bust-out year. I think everybody in here knows that. You've watched the film. Where did you feel like you regressed in any way?
It just wasn't as crisp as I feel like I've been playing. I feel like my fundamentals were a little bit off. I feel like the first half was kind of like getting back into like the flow of the game and stuff.
Yeah.
Coming off a short week, traveling from Mexico, I can't let that stuff get. It's not an excuse.
No, right.
But I can't let that stuff affect the way I play. So I got to get back into my routine and get back to preparing the way that I have been.
What did you think of that St. line with Onyemata, who's kind of a force inside? Was it you going up against him most of the day, or who did you draw most of the day?
I had him. I had 92.
Settle?
No. From UTSA, the end. I had him with a couple reps.
Okay.
I'm blanking on his name right now.
Mine too.
And then I had Contavious Street
who's always incredibly strong and
really
quick.
strong, quick, and they were just, I think they came out a little bit more ready to play and attack, and I think for us it was, trying to match that, and I think in the second half we did a better job of matching that. I think the first half was kind of a little rough around the edges for at least myself.
Yeah. When you look at your defense, they're throwing shutouts in the second half of games. In this game, they threw a shutout the entire game. What's that feel like when you're trying to be perfect, but if you're not perfect, you got a defense backing you up?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence to go out there and play free and play fast, play physical, and try to match their intensity. They bring the juice every time. They're incredibly physical, really fast, and they're smart players, and they swarm. So I think us getting reps against them this week, and because the Dolphins have a really good defensive line as well. So I mean, it's going to be another test for us, but it's awesome to have a defense like that who you can kind of play complementary football with the defense, special teams, offense. We're hitting on all cylinders and playing complementary football. I think that's when we're at our best.
We're in December. You guys been playing since July, banging heads. Is it more of is the NFL for you more of a physical challenge or more of a mental challenge week to week, trying to put together the game plans and remembering the game plans and the differences week to week? Is it mental or is it physical? Where do you start to feel kind of worn down a little bit?
I mean, definitely more physical. I think it's just a test of who can be consistent. Week in and week out, put together good games. And so for me, I've been trying to trend upward. Whatever I mess up on this last week, I'm going to try to fix that this week. So whether it's technical or I took a bad aiming point or I didn't react right to the second level or whatever it may be, I'm trying to fix it to where I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. So if I make it last week, not to do it this week.
When guys get hurt and guys go down, Burford in this game went down, for example. Does that impact you at all when the guy goes down? A new guy gets subbed in on the line,
especially when they're not directly next to me.
Right.
But
if it was
even
Trent
then,
or Jake, that would make a bigger impact.
Dude, I mean, Trent went down in Denver, and we had a different left tackle for 3 games, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I've been asked this earlier in the season too. It doesn't matter who's next to me. We all prepare the same. We all prepare together. I get reps with Jalen Moore. I get reps with Colt McKivitz. Whoever's going to be that left tackle, or whoever's going to be inside, we get reps together. So there's a comfortability with whoever's thrown in there that I trust that they're going to do their job. They trust I'm going to do my job. And Dan, with Spencer went down, they've been rotating all year, so there was no drop off. It's the same guy who's been in there all game. He's just taking more reps at that point. But they've been switching off, drive here, drive there, all year. So there was no change in the huddle.
Yeah, it's a good room. I mean, I think personally, from a personnel standpoint, it's a room full of starters. Jalen, I think, could be a starter. I think that it's not like some lines you have starters and then you have guys just hanging on. This group is different. It's guys who are starters today and guys who are going to be starters, in my opinion, tomorrow.
I think if you look across our whole roster at every position, it's like that.
It really is.
And that's depth, and you need depth, especially at this point of the year when guys are really banged up, and unfortunately you get injuries, and to have guys who are 2-3 deep that can come in and there's no drop off. That's winning football.
Yeah. How about the Dolphins on film? What do they look like? Christian Wilkins, big movement guy inside. He's got tremendous feet. What do you see when you watch them?
I think they're a very, very talented D-line. I think they create pressure. I think they push the pocket really well, and they run their games and their twists, and they're really efficient with it. And then they're very gap sound defense. They play their gaps, and they're when the whole defense is playing their gaps and they're very gap sound, it's hard to find creases. So I think it's going to be a challenge for us up front to get movement up front, move guys around, get guys out of gaps, and create running lanes. And in the pass game, stick to what we do and communicate up front and play cohesive football.
Does it matter if Miami's got some smaller linebackers who shoot gaps? Does that matter? Does that impact you at all when they have got smaller, faster linebackers?
Yeah, I mean, those dudes, don't discredit them saying they're smaller, man. Them dudes come downhill and they hit. So, I think that's similar to what the Saints linebackers were. They're a very downhill, physical group of linebackers, and I think that's what we're going to get this week again. So, kind of got a taste of it last week, and I think it'll be a nice physical matchup this week.
A couple last ones before we let you go. Sometimes you're out here, there's a hoop in the locker room. I don't see it today, actually, but there's normally a hoop. Yeah, but I've seen you take off the pads and you'll still have the football pants on, and you'll be pounding the dribble, and it's like you got two hands, and it's like, man, you look like an athlete. Like, did you play basketball in high school?
Yeah, man, I used to hoop. I was a real deal hooper.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What for who? El Cerrito?
El Cerrito. I played AAU basketball. I played with Open Soldier. I played with Team Arsenal.
Oh, okay. You probably know. Do you know Carl Foster?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played in the Adidas Gauntlet. Like, you look back, man, I used to hoop. Like not just like, oh, guys, I used to play basketball. Like, I was a hooper.
Right.
For
You drop step moves and everything on the low block. You like Zach Randolph down there?
I passed the ball. I could, whatever we needed. Like, I was a big body down there, but I wasn't just a big body down there. Like, I was.
You're an athlete.
Yeah.
What other sports did you play as a kid? Like growing up?
That was really it, man. Like,
basketball,
I was
football.
I didn't really start football until high school. I played a year when I was like 9 in a non-weight limit league over in Pleasanton.
Baseball? Any baseball?
Nah, I tried it for like a couple of weeks and caught a fly ball the wrong way, and it, I got hit. You know what I'm saying? Or,
yeah. How about like track and field, like shot, discus?
Yeah, I did shot put. Actually, I did the high jump at a meet in high school. Yeah.
How hig'd you get up?
I think it was like 5 foot.
Damn, that must have been a sight. What were you in high school? Same size?
Yeah, I was like 315. I haven't been under 300 pounds since the 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been a heavy body for a minute. So.
When did you know Notre Dame was you, that you were going there? I mean, was that like, did you dream that dream all through high school, or was it like some recruiter?
They offered me
and who finished
the summer of my junior year. And I didn't commit until December of my senior, like after my senior season, and I barely enrolled. I was there like 3-4 weeks later. But I took I wasn't even really thinking about it, and then Coach Houston kept telling me, like, just come take a visit, like, you just got to see the school. So I went out and I did a visit, and I visited them, and I visited Michigan. I kind of did a loop from Chicago and drove through. And
Harbaugh? You mean Harbaugh?
Yeah, I met Harbaugh. I went on a visit there. But I don't know, man. I just had a good vibe about the campus and the players, and they kind of took me to, like, through a real day in the life there. Like, they didn't roll out a crazy red carpet and put, all this rah-rah, whatever. He was like, this is what it's really going to be. And I like that. And then I got a chance to hang out with the O-line, and, I fell in love with the school, fell in love with the program. And that was kind of I took an official, and that was kind of the standard for me. Because I really like this. So, like, if anywhere that I like more, then I know that I have a real contender. And then, I mean...
What was close? Was Michigan second choice?
Nah. Actually, I didn't really like Michigan. Oregon.
Oregon, okay.
Yeah, I liked Oregon a lot. They were my close second.
Yeah. Too rainy, though, huh?
Nah, man. Rain, snow, all that. So, man, you probably get it more out there. You get the permacloud out there. It's cloudy from, October through...
But
April.
South Bend, at least you get to get incredible education.
Yeah, I mean that was a part of it. That degree was a part of it. It means a lot wherever you go. When you say you have a Notre Dame degree, it doesn't matter what it's in.
Yeah,
it holds a lot of weight.
That's big. What was your major?
Film and television.
What do you want to do when this is over? If you have your druthers?
Hopefully nothing, man. I'm trying to play football until I don't got to do anything
That's
anymore.
That's a good idea.
But no, our alumni is very strong, and hopefully I can get into something with NBC. We have really close ties there, and I've done some lunches and meet and greets with some people from NBC. So if it doesn't work out, hopefully get into that. Hopefully.
Don't forget the little people.
Hopefully I don't have to get it.
Yeah, I could see you being an NBC executive. All right, a couple last ones. World Cup, you watching it? You into it?
Not as much, man.
Is there a guy in here that's into it? Is there anybody on this team that's talking World Cup in the meetings or into World Cup?
I think Mike's pretty into it. You asked Brandell, Alfredo, of course. Unfortunately, Mexico lost, so he was a little bummed about that. But man, there's a lot of guys who played soccer and are really into it. My girlfriend is actually really into it, so she watched it more than I do. But I mean, we're just busy, man.
Yeah,
I know. When I get home, I'm not
You're probably hitting the pillow, man.
If it's not Monday night or Thursday night football, I'm probably not watching too much. Too much sports on TV. Hitting the pillow and with the kids, with the baby now. So
how's the
trying
baby?
to catch up on sleep. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah. Man, you look remarkably fresh for having a 3-week-year-old.
Appreciate it, man.
How's it going so far?
It's good, man.
Girl, boy?
Boy.
There you go. What's his name?
Koa.
Koa?
Yeah.
C-O...
K-O-A.
K-O-A.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
But no, man, it's awesome. You know, get to come home and
Play with him.
Come home and take over for my girlfriend so she can get a little break, and I'll take him and feed him so he goes to sleep, and then put some film on, and we'll sit there together and watch film.
That's sweet, man.
Getting him to learn some ball from a young age.
Dude, those are memories you're gonna have forever. You
Yeah.
can tell him about it when he grows up, man. You're watching with pops, watching film.
Man.
All right, last one. Guys in here, if in soccer, the big thing is penalty kicks. Who's like the pressure guy? Take away Robbie, take away Mitch, because they kick. Give me the guy in here that if there was a PK, you'd want him taking it because he's a pressure player. Who's a pressure player in this room? It's a tough call because it could be anybody.
I'm trying to think of who could actually kick the ball. Actually.
Who's like an all-around athlete, could play anything?
All-around athlete.
It's got to be somebody on
Dude, you know
secondary,
who's
right?
actually like okay all-around athlete? Greenlaw.
Is he?
Right. Now, you see him hoop. Little
No.
lefty, he can shoot, dribble, he can get up there. Maybe Greenlaw. Or maybe Juice.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Juice is a good one.
All right, last one. When you're on offense, you come off the field, you're huffing and puffing. You guys are sitting on the sideline, getting refreshed, getting off your feet. Who's the guy on your defense that you just love to watch? That you're like, hey, you know what? Enough rest. I think I want to go watch this guy. For me, I like watching Greenlaw because I like the hitting, and I like how he kind of walks right to that line, and he may sort of cross it, and I kind of like that. But there's a bunch of guys on this
Man,
team.
you could pick anybody on it and watch them, and there's this fire and intensity that our defense plays with,
Yeah.
especially on the D-line, man. Because Sherry's got them boys amped up, and they get off and they go.
Yeah.
And, blocking them in practice, you feel that. So when you see it, you're like, all right, let me see. Like, he got me with this move. Like, this has kind of been his bread and butter. Like,
Yeah.
let's see how it works. And it's cool when you see guys like, the moves that they do on you, they apply it to the game, and they get sacks and they get pressures.
You know who plays super hard is Kerry Hyder, 92.
Yes.
His motor. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking he's done out of the play, and he just keeps it roughing. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll get up off the ground and
He
sack the
keeps going.
quarterback.
No, I love Kerry. Kerry has a high motor, man.
Yeah.
Him, and then another guy who I feel like kind of falls to the wayside who's really fucking good on the D-line is Kevin Givens.
Yeah.
Givens, man. He's
Slippery, huh?
Slippery, strong, fast, and he got crazy balance.
Yeah.
You would think that he makes these moves and look like he's about to fall and then just touch the ground and get to the ball. Like,
Yeah. Seriously.
he's slippery. He's kind of some of the plays he makes reminded me of how DJ Jones would play last year.
Yeah.
Like,
I miss
making
DJ,
guys
man.
miss,
DJ's a
getting
great dude, too.
Oh, he was great. I mean, we got a chance to play him a little bit until I think he got concussion when we played him in Denver. But
Yeah,
it was
but he
dope.
made
It was
it-
dope. It was dope to play him. Like,
At the beginning of that game, he was playing like a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, before he went down with the injury, I was like, Jesus, is DJ going to play this hard the whole game? I mean, he was playing great in that first
it's hard
quarter.
to play that hard the whole game.
I know.
Those dudes got to go chase the ball down and take on double teams and stuff. And,
Yeah.
D linemen get tired, so when they can keep it up, it's a headache. It's a
All right,
long
man.
day
Last
for
one.
them.
Last one. What's the gift for the little guy? What you and your wife? Christmas. He's not going to remember this Christmas, but what's going to be the big gift for him this year? Are you
He's a
going to play
newborn,
Santa?
Bro. No, I'm not getting him anything. I'm not getting him anything. He's not going to remember.
I'm getting him
Just get
formula.
something for you.
Yeah, like
I'm
what
getting him formula. That's it.
Yeah,
right?
he can get a bottle. That's what he'll get. Like, nah, no gifts for the baby, man. He's not gonna remember it. We're not even gonna remember it.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
I don't think there's any point, especially when he was born at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a month and a half.
Man, you got a lot going on, man. We'll let you go, but thanks for the time.
No problem,
Appreciate you.
For sure.
Thanks.
Aaron Banks.
That was cool wrapping with Banks.
Good
Our guy.
interview.
My
But my
connection
favorite
better?
question was my favorite comment was Larry when you said, "Oh, it's 3 weeks. Oh, okay. Oh, so you like to go home and just play with Koa, play with him? Yeah, here, Koa. Let's play."
Yeah. Play ball. Go deep. Go deep.
Fetch.
You run a 7 route. I'm going to hit you in stride.
Wait, so what's hilarious is I don't know if you saw me laughing during the interview, but I was watching his basketball highlights because I was searching for him because I was like, damn, okay, he played on Flight, okay, and then he went to Soldiers, so he definitely had some like flash in his game. Everybody on Soldiers, like you kind of have to have a little bit of flash playing AAU like that. He totally, dude, Larry, you nailed it with the Zach Randolph. I'm not seeing any dunks. It's all like Zach Randolph meets like Jokic. Like looks like a great passer, but like he also his arms like he's not jumping for blocks or like he's just like totally like a point center. It's great.
Well, it is interesting how at the beginning of the year, I think Banks was a little like wasn't really sure how to deal with the media because he'd been getting a lot of bad pub. And then he just got better and better and better. And then he got more comfortable. And then last week was his worst game. And then at the beginning of the interview, you guys saw it. I was kind of out rebooting at that point, but he pretty much owned it. He's like, man, I didn't have a very good game. He kind of knew it. But great guy to talk to. The O-line, I said this to Rye when we started doing the interviews. You cannot beat the offensive line as far as interviews, and they're all good. Trent's good, Brendel's good, Burford's good, Banks is good. I mean, they're all good. Brunskill's amazing. The offensive line are some of the best talkers in football, and they'll give you extended answers. I mean, the cool thing about Banks there is that Banks was shutting it down for the day because there was practice, and then the media availability was technically after practice. Yeah. And he was getting ready to take off, and he hung out for whatever that was. 15.
When we looked around after, there was nobody left in the locker room because on these days, it's like it's not really like a time where it ends. It's just kind of like everyone's trying to shower and get out. And so when they're out, they're out. And Banks just took, 15 minutes with us. He's been cool with us since the beginning. I remember we were kind of messing with him about the media, and he was just like, man, I don't look at any of that. Like he was totally kind of putting on a front, and now he's totally like a goofy guy. You can tell like we had Poe go and interview him, and like he's totally the boy. Yeah. Wait, do you want to watch some of these highlights? They're kind of funny.
Yeah, if you got them.
This is just him at like
playing basketball.
This is just him, I think, at like just a single like AAU tournament.
With the man bun?
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that.
So he's just like 6'7", like 300. Look at that pass. Look at that vision. But he's like, he barely jumps.
Left hand. Oh, he just ran through that guy.
Oh, dude. Look at that move.
Oh, look at little baby hook.
I know. Yeah. Like he's super good.
Yeah. Look at that. Lefty baby hook.
Like he's playing Soldiers down. He's playing against all these 6'9" guys who are doing freaking windmill dunks, and like he's just like pretty fundamental.
Dude, that's a big dude playing.
Oh my God. He said afterwards, I think I might have already said that, but he's like, I was like the kid who's 300 pounds and just so sweaty and like when it's cool.
Yeah. I think Jack Del Rio went to El Cerrito, didn't he?
He might have. El Cerrito was.
I think that sounds right.
We played him.
Well, you know who else went there was Drew Gooden.
Wait.
Right?
Was that a Pasquale wink? Wait, do you see that? Look, watch Banks. I think he winks to the camera after the block. Wait. Yeah.
It's Drew Gooden who played in the NBA.
Yeah, with LeBron.
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure Drew Gooden.
He was one of the OG.
Yeah, he went to El
Soldiers.
Cerrito High School. Drew Gooden.
Yeah, Jack Del Rio was at Hayward High. Yeah.
Gary Radnich played basketball in college.
Yeah, for Vegas.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Before Tark, right?
Yeah, before Tark. He wasn't with Grandmama and Stacey Ogman.
Did he play in a different
era? But
did he play in a suit or?
He was a great shooter.
He's got him and Greg Cosell. I'd love to see a shoot off.
Yeah.
No, Banks. I mean, when you play basketball like that, that tells you the guy's very athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you too. I mean, Banks has, John Lynch last year kind of doubled down on Banks, and he said, "Hey, for all you guys ripping Banks, you better stop it because you're going to look really bad in a year from now. We really have high hopes for him." And And, we're just developing him slowly. And sure enough, the one thing about the 49ers is they have at any one point 20 to 25 guys walking around their locker room who aren't players yet, but are going to be players in the future.
That's how you keep
Jason
keep a
Poe
nucleus,
is going to be a player in
Yeah.
the future. There's just no
Right.
doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that Tay Martin is going to be a player in the future. Jordan Mason is going to be a player, maybe starting this week, but it might be the future. So they've got a number of guys that they're developing on their roster. Nick Zakel is a really good guard center. I think he's going to play in the NFL for over a decade. He hasn't really played yet, but they're developing. This is what good teams do. You draft guys, you put them on the practice squad, you develop them, and then a year later that you plug them in. And Banks is a perfect example. He's been an absolute foundation for them. If you really want to say, where does Jimmy's turnaround begin this year? It begins with Burford, Banks, and Brendel keeping the A-gap pressure out of Jimmy's face. They're not giving up pass rush up the gut. Jimmy's a north-south mover. He doesn't like to escape east-west. So what does that mean? That means that if you get pressure in the A-gap, you almost have to escape east-west. So the fact that Jimmy is not getting that pressure in his face has enabled him to play with more confidence because he doesn't have to abandon the pocket, one of every 3 pass plays because they've given up penetration inside. And that's Banks and Burford and Brendel.
Seriously. Yeah.
Guys have done a really underrated job.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I think the Niners developing guys is a great way to go because if you have that ability while you have guys that are still young and playing that are becoming stars, then you can afford to let some of those guys maybe move on and bring in guys that are ready to play. And you keep that, the mistake franchises make is they age too altogether. And they you're looking at the Rams, they got all their guys and they didn't have any depth. And now they're, in trouble and they don't have draft picks coming. You got to keep the thing going. And that's what the Patriots were able to do for 20 plus years. The old Niners, the old Niners under the regime of when John McVay was here and then Eddie D was running the team, they made some pretty big cuts that were kind of controversial, letting Ronnie Lott go early on. And I think they even let Rice go, didn't they? Rice walked. Who else walked? Somebody else, Roger Craig. Yeah.
Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, I mentioned Lott. Yeah. So, it's tough, but if you want to keep bringing in new guys, you've got to kind of cut them a year earlier than a year later.
Guys, I'm reading this on Twitter. SF Giants Faithful 3 says Aaron Judge has taken New York out of his bio on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that was someone else. If you read the comments, somebody said it was never in there, and then somebody else said it was, and it was also. It may have been done a long time ago. It may have been done right after the season ended when he officially wasn't a Yankee anymore, because when his contract expired, he was no longer a Yankee. I mean, Debo did the same thing, right? I mean, you can't.
True.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me. I don't look at that stuff too much just because who knows? I mean, let's see. KMBR, what if Aaron Judge doesn't sign with the Giants?
Then Dan will not be re-upping.
Wait,
Correct.
Kanye tweeted that Chris Paul got with Kim K. No wonder he's been playing so poorly. That's brutal.
GTC
what a
Real says his
mess that
Banks
guy
too
is.
small for left tackle. Well, first of all, Banks is 6'6", 330, so I don't think he's too small. But it's just he's not a tackle. He's a guard.
You could see also in those highlights, like he's super athletic and quick-footed and all that kind of stuff and coordinated, but it looks his arms look like maybe they're proportional to his body as opposed to like super crazy long, like most left tackles.
Yeah, tackles have to have longer arms. I mean, a guard, I mean, he's probably athletic enough where he could even play center if he had to, because he's quick. I mean, anybody that can play basketball and have low post moves has got to have good feet. So, I mean,
No
a
doubt.
guard like that,
No doubt.
I mean, a guard like that pulling, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, well, we do see it sometimes but can you imagine like Trent Williams, Aaron Banks coming full speed at the cornerbacks? And they're just like, I mean, if you're a cornerback, you really have to make a decision for like, do I want to take this guy on and try and make this tackle and maybe be out for the rest of the year? Or do I just want to take a dive and look like I'm trying to make a tackle and get out of here? Because, I mean, those guys Trent Williams can blow you up. And Aaron Banks looks like the same. If he gets going full speed, oh, my goodness.
I mean, you're talking about big athletic guys. The key is, what is your playing weight versus your walk around weight? And if your playing weight is, 20, 30 pounds different than your walk around weight, then you're probably not going to have a long career. But if what you're walking around, in May and June at, if that's basically what you play at, that means you don't have to do a lot of lifting to maintain that weight. Then those guys sometimes play 10, 15 years. I think Banks is going to wind up being in that latter category. I think he's going to wind up playing, 10, 12, 15-year career because, it's important to him. He's athletic, he's tough. And, his walk around weight's 325, and maybe
he's been 3 bills since 8th grade.
I mean, that's his natural weight. The other thing I'll say this, offensive linemen, you don't want body beautiful offensive linemen. You don't. You really don't. If a guy looks good in clothes, he's probably not the right proportion to play offensive line.
Unless he's Tyron Smith.
Offensive linemen, for the most part, have to look like, kind of sloppy bodied.
Yeah, Lindsey needs to be a little bit more built up on top. He's kind of, isn't he kind of thin below the waist? McGlinchey.
He's pretty proportional, but he is pretty massive.
He got a little too lean at times. I think he's at a better weight right now.
He's also like 6'8". So.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a really tall guy. But to me, the perfect offensive guard build is Burford. He's thick as heck. He's carrying a ton of weight from his chest down, right? He's got huge legs and hips and power. And once he rises up out of his stance, he's just, he's got long arms and a crazy powerful base.
I like Banks' body for a guard just because he's Banks, because he's big and he's taken on the biggest guys in the game and the defensive tackles.
Just him as a junior in high school playing basketball there during basketball season when his weight's probably at his lowest. As a junior, I think if you ran full speed into him, he wouldn't move. He would just absorb you like a mattress.
He reminds me of, he's like as broad as like a Coke machine.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like one of those gigantic Coke machines in high schools?
Yeah.
Those things that are just huge. They're like 4 feet wide and 6 feet tall. I mean, that's what Banks looks like. He's just so broad. He's just so naturally wide. And he's a natural athlete. I mean, this guy as I said, you saw it in the basketball highlights. He's to me, one of the real underrated parts of this season as far as positives is that the Niners stumbled on Banks and Burford, and they have their plug and play guard tandem for the next decade.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's valuable.
What is Banks 6'6", what? 315?
320?
I mean, he listed 330, 6'7" in basketball, so he might be a little taller.
So to me, I compared him earlier this year to body type, and he's actually bigger. But you remember Larry Allen with the Dallas Cowboys, how good he was?
Remember him. I know him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of the, Madden's favorites. He was
one of the greatest guards in the history of pro football.
Yeah. I think Banks has that type of ability. Banks is actually Larry Allen was 6'3", 325. Banks is 6'6". So you got ability when you're in pass blocking to kind of.
Larry Allen could dunk. Larry Allen could
Really?
do the splits. Larry Allen was freaky strong.
Well, he was a monster, mean
He went
guy,
to Sonoma
too.
State. Mark Graves, that's right.
That's
Mark
right,
Graves
he
at
did.
Sonoma State. He used to get his suits at Caceres, that we have on this show as a sponsor of one of the sponsors. That's how I know Larry Allen.
Too bad he was never a Niner, man.
He was a Niner.
Oh, at the end, right?
He was a Niner, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, he would park his massive Rolls Royce in the parking lot.
He was a Niner. That's
I think
right.
It was a red Rolls Royce.
Late 90s
good too.
Late 90s, he was a Niner, right? Yeah.
Just for a year or two.
Yeah.
He was incredible.
But I remember more with the Cowboys when they were
he was
winning those
totally
Super Bowls.
dominant.
Yeah.
One of the greatest guards of all time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
right there, you say the greatest guards of all time. I think John Hanna, Larry Allen,
Gene Upshaw.
Gene Upshaw. I mean, but I mean, Larry Allen was just so strong, so powerful.
Wow.
Matthew Mears says, Larry, did Burford have a walking boot on today? I didn't see Burford in there today. Did he have a walking boot?
No, I didn't see him either.
So who gets the start?
I mean, here's the other thing: is Debo did Debo end up practicing or no?
I don't think so. I read he didn't, but
no, Debo definitely did not
around.
practice today.
But it's just a contusion, right? They're just giving him rest, probably, right?
I think also because of the conditions, possibly.
Yeah, and it was pouring.
Yeah,
rain
it's got a
all day.
quad, and he's got a quad, and it was wet, and they probably just didn't want it to give away on him and have him be out.
More like a Charlie horse, right? Is what he kind of sustained, like a big, like a.
Did they tell you that at the winter meetings?
Just a big nice knot.
Guys, you got a final thought on our way out here? By the way, check me out tomorrow. Joe Schmo says, love Guru, Damon, Rat, and the others, Larry too, when he was there. I will be on 95.7 tomorrow at 3 o'clock sitting in for Ratto. I'll be on with Damon Bruce. So hopefully Aaron Judge becomes a Giant tomorrow.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice if he becomes a Giant during your show, man?
Right in the middle of the show. So
yeah,
join me tomorrow. Tomorrow from 3 to 6 on 95.7 The Game, and I'm also doing the following Friday with Damon, or I believe with Ratto the following Friday. So
my final thought will be this: that I'm going to stick to the Giants signing Aaron Judge before the winter meetings are completed, and that he will sign. I don't believe that he would be. Here's what I think happened. Here's what I think happened. I think the Giants had maybe why they were late. It is, hey, look, if we will not be beat. Aaron, we want you badly. We want to make you the face of our franchise. We won't be beat financially. If it comes down to money, if that's your deal, we promise you we will not be beat. Are you, do we have your buy-in or so? I think there's an agreement, and that if the Yankees do come back with a last-minute offer, I think the Giants top it and he signs, or if he's already ready to take the Giants offer. I think he was offended by the Yankees' early offer last season, and the fact that he never he kind of had an attitude toward him, in my opinion. And watching him with his exit interview, the season ending, he acted like he was gone. If he goes back to New York, I'm actually going to be shocked. But he may, I may be reading the room completely wrong. And if to me, if that's what he
wouldn't be the first time.
No, but I'm in agreement with the other guy. What was his name? Cohen or whatever? Or
Grant Cohn.
No, the guy from New York that said he's going to be a Giant.
Oh, you had a dream?
No, I just think the money. I think
Carton,
the whole money.
You're talking about Carton.
Carton, yeah. I think the whole thing with the money thing is like, if he goes back with the Yankees just because it's the money, I think he puts undue pressure on himself, and I don't think he'll be able to perform in New York with that kind of thing hanging over him. I just don't.
We've got this one from J Stamps. If the Niners beat Miami, Judge will sign with the Giants. No pressure.
I love it.
How about this one? Dan, Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Will Judge sign before Dan stops his final thought? Ryan, you got a final thought?
Well, first thing, I definitely am being, I do feel like I'm a lot more ADHD when I'm standing up. I've got all this energy. I can expend all these places. That's one thing. Secondly, I just thought it was funny. I just was thinking wait, what did I title this again? It's like Monday Night Football reaction or Thursday Night Football reaction. And it's we talked about it for 7 seconds.
There was nothing to talk about. It was such
You're right. There was nothing to talk about.
Nothing.
I lost. I took the teaser on the Patriots and the under, and
I chased too.
The Patriots. I had 11.5, and they lose by 14. If they'd gone for the touchdown at the end, who knows? I might have won. But
so do we?
Got to have that field goal. Got to have that late field goal.
Let's see who your fantasy matchups are this week. You guys.
I've got Proctor. I think Proctor's going to spank me out of one last gasp.
Some bad blood going right there between
I know.
Proctor.
Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah, knock you completely.
You better not make any questionable decisions.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? You're losing and just start shifting guys off of waivers and
Bride just starts crushing with a record score.
You should do it, Ride, just for fun.
Oh, here we go. Chiguayo 56, $2. Bought my dog a dolphin shoe toy. He tore it up.
Hell yeah.
I hear that. We got this guy says, Dan, put your house on the line.
Yes. And then, okay, how about this? If Judge doesn't sign with the Giants, you have to move to Linden.
If he doesn't? Oh, gosh. That's like losing your fantasy league.
I know.
What if Judge was forced to live in the 55 and over community?
Yeah. That would be something.
Eric says Judge did have New York on his IG when he met the Giants.
Well, it could just be leverage.
Yeah, it could be leverage like Debo. Yeah, you never know.
I'll stay with
Kyler Murray.
They're kicking tires on Judge, and they'll dramatically overpay for Haniger and Nemo.
What happened to your prediction when you said he was signing on Thanksgiving? He's coming to the Giants.
There was Dan. There was a material change.
yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Check me out tomorrow at 3 with Damon. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow after Warriors Bulls. And if Judge does sign with the Giants, of course, we will live stream. Until then, where's Faith? Where's Buster?
Wait, Buster, why don't we go? We can go dog cam while we play out.
Red. Let's play Red's song on the way out.
Like it.
Can you hear
it?
Have
a good night, everybody.
Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
Faith, can you hear it?
Muted.
Can you hear it, Faith? Buster, can you hear it?
This ain't a tragedy, son.
There we go.
I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man. I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. Life is but a thrill. He have no time for small talk. He didn't mince words, just sum the lyrics to the best song he ever heard. All his hopes and dreams had turned to despair. But what he was facing, there was no way to prepare. This came from a man who thought his life was ending. In his mind, it was serious. There was no pretending. He checked the clock on the wall before he said his goodbyes. Emitting tears, he has gone. See back into his eyes. He was old in life. There'll be no encore. He raised his hands to the heavens, put his knees on the floor. Don't have to be a genius to know he'd been blessed. He said he'd pay it forward and always do his best. At that moment, what he'd been searching for became clear. He was here to serve those who living in fear. With his newfound enlightenment in the wind at his back, he's prepared to live out his life's final act. He was a rich man man now. He had purpose in life, and to capture this feeling, you don't pay a price. Before we set up on his own, he made a pledge to get some wins and live his life against the grain to the bitter end. You miss your shot at life, you think there's nothing else for you to do. This ain't a tragedy, son. I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man, I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. Life is but a thrill.
Never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful,